Okay, let's be real. Does Lucasfilm actually confirm that Anakin Skywalker will be in the Ahsoka show? Yes, they did confirm that we'll see Anakin Skywalker again. But it gets better. It doesn't appear that we'll see Anakin through an old hologram or Ahsoka's mind playing tricks on her as we saw in Rebels. It actually seems like we will be getting Clone Wars flashbacks in the Ahsoka show. Now you, my viewer, are probably wondering right now, did Lucasfilm accidentally leak this because, well, let's be fair, they do accidentally announce things prematurely? And the answer is no. They actually put Anakin Skywalker in a trailer. Now you could have easily missed this as they have been posting many trailers to build up the hype for the Ahsoka show. Most of the trailers are just the same clips with maybe one new scene that we see for like 2 seconds or just Dave and John talking over the trailer. But this one was different. We actually got to hear the voice of Anakin Skywalker in the trailer. What's interesting about this is that Lucasfilm has never previously confirmed that Hayden would appear in the Ahsoka show, and it may seem odd that he did appear in the trailer. I feel like Anakin appearing in the Ahsoka show would be a big plot moment, and it's interesting that Lucasfilm just gave it to us in this trailer. Now, if you haven't heard the trailer, here it is.
In this war, you will face more than just droids. As your master, it's my responsibility to prepare you. I won't always be there to look out for you. Don't be afraid. And trust your instincts. I know you can do this, Ahsoka.
I believe that this confirms what we have all wanted, a Clone Wars flashback in live action with Hayden Christensen. I say this because he says you'll face more than droids, which clearly shows that this scene takes place in the Clone Wars. And this fits in really well with the rumors that Lucasfilm casted a Clone Wars age Ahsoka for the show. So flashbacks would be amazing. But how would Lucasfilm execute on the flashbacks? Well, I'm getting the idea that Lucasfilm will drop small flashbacks throughout the show when we're seeing some important character moments from our protagonists or antagonists. Sort of similar to the Obi-Wan show as we saw flashbacks of their training session in tense moments. Now, one thing I hope Dave and the VFX team can do is to de-age Hayden correctly. In the Obi-Wan show, the fight between Anakin and Obi-Wan felt a little off because it was apparent that they use little or no de-aging for Anakin and Obi-Wan. Now this is probably because the Obi-Wan show had such a low budget, which makes sense because Andor certainly deserved its insanely high budget because it's important to create a show where the world feels so huge so that the 8 people who actually watch the show can be truly immersed. Now, back to the point. The de-aging was really bad and that kind of took me out of the story. So I really hope that if there are Clone Wars flashbacks, that Hayden and other characters, if they appear, are de-aged appropriately. Now let's talk about something that I think is on everyone's mind right now. That is, why would Lucasfilm even leak this? Like, what do they have to gain by sharing that Anakin Skywalker will be in the Ahsoka show? Well, I'm sure they have many reasons, but one big one is that they're trying to build hype for the show. Now, building hype for the show is really difficult when there's an actor strike and the actors can't promote the show or really even talk about it. So I think Lucasfilm made the decision to have Anakin in the trailer so that the prequel and Clone Wars fans would get hyped. Not only that, it seems to be big news as many articles have talked about it. Now, what will we actually see in these flashbacks? Well, it seems from the audio that we got it's just some sort of teaching moment from Anakin to Ahsoka. It may be similar to the Tales of the Jedi flashbacks of him training Ahsoka. It's safe to say that we will most likely get a lot of flashbacks throughout the show. If you didn't hear about the leaks, a large portion of the show is supposedly about Ahsoka in the World Between Worlds. The World Between Worlds is a place in space where there are pathways to portals, and each portal seems to be a vital moment in Star Wars. I believe that Dave Filoni has previously described the World Between Worlds as echoes throughout the galaxy. Anyways, Ezra went into the World Between Worlds and saved Ahsoka from dying to Vader. So technically, there's a lot of things that can be changed via the World Between Worlds. So Ahsoka is supposedly going to be in the World Between Worlds, and she'll be attempting to save Anakin from turning to the dark side. What's really cool is many leakers say that in the World Between Worlds, Ahsoka will go to Mustafar to try to turn Anakin to the light side instead of Obi-Wan. And this is supposed to teach Ahsoka that she can't change what has happened to Anakin. Now, theoretically, that does sound really cool, and Star Wars fans have been extremely happy to hear these rumors, but there's so much glaring problems with this. If this happened, and Ahsoka somehow confronted Anakin instead of Obi-Wan, Star Wars canon would be changed forever. Because think about it, Ahsoka originally died to Vader on that Sith planet, But Ezra pulled her out of the portal and she's alive again, meaning that history has changed. But there's a few questions. What did Vader see? Did Ahsoka just disappear in the middle of a fight? Does he think he killed her, or does he know that she somehow got pulled out by magic? I mean, Ezra literally pulled her out by reaching his hand in. So did Vader see all of this? This creates so many questions and uncertainties. If Ahsoka was the one to fight Anakin and it ended all the same way with Anakin becoming Vader, everything is okay, right? No, not at all. This completely changes the character of Obi-Wan and Padme. If Ahsoka was the one to confront Anakin, does that mean the conversation of Yoda telling Obi-Wan to fight Anakin didn't happen? Or did it happen and Obi-Wan just didn't think to sneak in Padme's ship? But then if Padme and Ahsoka were there to confront Anakin, he wouldn't be as mad because he thought Obi-Wan was stealing Padme from him. So would this also change Obi-Wan's character? Well, he would certainly still blame himself for Anakin's supposed death, and Yoda probably would still give Luke to him on Tatooine, so his character would seem okay. But here comes the ironic part. It would actually mess up the Obi-Wan Kenobi show because the whole plot of the show is Vader getting his revenge on Obi-Wan for how he left him burnt on Mustafar. That's literally the reason he threw Obi-Wan in the fire in Episode 3. So what's my point of listing all these possible flaws? Well, Lucasfilm has a tendency to break canon, and I'm not talking about changing books. I'm talking about how they change characters that were created by George Lucas. So with The World Between Worlds, there are so many possible problems that this show can encounter. The most difficult thing that Lucasfilm will have to tackle is making it feel real. Let me explain. In the Obi-Wan show, the fight between Anakin and Obi-Wan, I don't feel like that's real. And this isn't me denying Star Wars canon, it's just when I think of the characters of Obi-Wan and Anakin, in my brain, I just don't believe that scene in the Obi-Wan show actually happened. It takes me out of the story, and for the whole entire Obi-Wan show, I just don't believe any of those events actually happened to the characters. Vader fighting Obi-Wan twice doesn't make sense at all, and it doesn't feel like it actually happened, and it doesn't feel like it lines up with George Lucas's Star Wars. It feels like a fan fiction. And this is something a lot of Disney Star Wars productions fall into. Many of them feel like they are separate stories from what Star Wars actually is. However, Dave Filoni has done a really good job of not taking us out of the immersiveness. The Clone Wars is his best example, as I do believe that everything that happened in the show lines up with the characters that we see in Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. So why am I saying all these things? It's because the biggest hurdle that Dave is going to have to go through is making the Ahsoka show feel real. We, the audience, need to feel like things that happen in the show line up with the character Ahsoka as we have all known her before. The whole World Between Worlds will be the most difficult because there's so much room for error, and one tiny mistake could totally destroy the show and take us completely out. Little errors in the World Between Worlds can make characters different than we already knew them from George Lucas, which would upset the Lucasfilm fanbase. Obviously, there's nobody better than Dave, and I completely trust him to do this show correctly and honor the Star Wars created by George Lucas. Many consider this show the last straw for them when it comes to Star Wars. The Lucasfilm games and books have been good, but when it comes to movies and shows, they've been pretty mid to bad. So many fans consider this the last show that they will be hyped for unless the show is amazing. A mediocre Ahsoka show will not be tolerated by the fan. It's almost certain that a large portion of Star Wars fans will not tune in for future shows and movies if this Ahsoka show is not amazing. A lot of Lucasfilm sympathizer fans say that we shouldn't have high expectations for shows. I totally disagree. I just finished Star Wars Heir to the Empire, and that book is my favorite book, surpassing even the Darth Plagueis novel. The way that Thrawn was used in that book was amazing, and the way that the Imperial remnants emerged from the shadows was also truly amazing. I have expectations similar to this book, and I expect an amazing show. If this show is just pretty good, I will be disappointed and let down because this is the big project everyone has been hyped up for. I expect near perfection from the show, and I'm truly trusting Dave to make that happen. The Ahsoka show premieres on Wednesday, and I'll be staying up late so that I can watch both episodes that premiere and make breakdowns of those 2 episodes and many other videos throughout the whole season. This is the first Star Wars show where I will watch them when they premiere, and I'm going to completely put all my effort into covering the show. And I'm doing this so the viewers can understand and learn little details that they may have missed. Sadly, this means that my usual complex high-quality videos where I go on deep dives into characters and plots will be halted for a short time. I love digging into characters and plots and explaining deeper meanings and interesting facts and things about them. But all videos like that will be completely halted during the duration of the Ahsoka show, as that is my main priority for the next few months. Thanks for watching. I'm very excited that we will get to see Anakin Skywalker and Ahsoka in Clone Wars flashbacks in the show. And I'm very hyped for the show, and I hope my audience is as well. May the Force be with you.